What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you all doing today? And welcome to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I am your host, Nick Smith, and it's summertime. What's that? Do you all hear that? Oh my gosh! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this summer I am going to be reviewing the Jaws franchise. All of the Jaws movies. Jaws 1, 2, 3D, Jaws the Revenge. So there's your 4 movie reviews that you can look forward to this summer. I'm going to do more, but this is what I'm wanting to do right now. So, as you all know, Jaws is a movie adaptation that was made by Steven Spielburg, which was honestly a film that he did not think was going to make his career. As a matter of fact, he thought this movie was going to ruin his career. He actually, at one point, wanted to stop production because he thought the movie would not do well. But apparently it did! This movie is actually based on the book Jaws by Peter Benchley, and actually, for those who don't know this, Peter Benchley actually makes an appearance in the Jaws movie himself. He is in the scene, for all those who have ever watched Jaws, when they open the beach on the 4th of July, he is the reporter that is talking about how it used to be a good beach, but then it has been attacked by a great white killer shark. So, that's really cool that he got a cameo. Now, some history with this film, with me. I got obsessed with this movie. I bet you all are wondering, what? Nick obsessed with a movie? Pfft, that never happens. But yeah, I got pretty obsessed with this movie. The very first time I ever watched this movie, I want to say I might have been 12 at the time. 12 or 13. Because I had seen it at the video store and I rented it, but I didn't get to finish it. But I thought it was interesting. It really piqued my interest. I was always afraid of Jaws because I thought it was rated R. But no. It's PG-13. But I was afraid of this movie just like I was of Jurassic Park, except I wasn't afraid of waking up and seeing a shark hovering above my bed trying to eat me. It's always funny how Steven Spielberg's movies are the ones to give me blood-curdling nightmares. Huh. Go figure. But I went up to my mom and dad one day, and I was like, do you guys remember the movie Jaws? Oh, yeah. How bad did that movie scare you or the public? My dad said, son, this movie scared people so bad, they were afraid to get in their bathtubs. Wow. Heck, I'm a little bit afraid at nighttime to go swimming in my own pool because I've watched too many shark movies and too many alligator movies, and I'm afraid that when I dive in there's going to be some alligator waiting at the bottom of the pool. But there's no alligators in Virginia that I know of. But point is, I'm here to review Jaws. Now, also, another thing, Jaws is actually based on a shark attack that I believe happened in the Jersey Shore in 1960. Or 1969. They actually did something about it on Shark Week, which was actually pretty interesting. But anyways, let's talk about the movie. The movie starts out with this group of kids who are sitting on this beach, and we see they're all drinking and smoking, but before that, we get the shark's POV. Now, just like how they did in Halloween, with like how the killer stalks people, we see Jaws swimming. We see Jaws swimming through the water. Now, I think before they even revealed the poster, nobody knew what Jaws was. I don't think they knew what it was until they seen the shark. But anyways, so this girl named Chrissy notices that this guy's looking at her, so she decides, hey, I'm going to go for a swim. I'm going to make him chase after me. If he wants some pootie tang, he's going to have to chase me in the water. So he's been drinking, so while she is running and... she's running and she's taking off her clothes, there was always debate between me and my friends who have watched the Jaws movie if the girl, when she's stripping, is in a bikini or if she goes skinny dipping. And after having an HD laptop, I can confer, people, she was skinny dipping. Yeah, they looked real. But, so when she goes out into the water, the guy's trying to get undressed himself, but he unfortunately passes out. While the girl is swimming, we finally get the POV, and this actually is like the Tyrannosaurus breaking out scene in Jurassic Park for me, because I would always actually skip this part, because I just didn't like her getting eaten the way how she did, and it would always scare me. But I watched it last night, and so, you know, like, she's starting to, like, she's getting pulled under, and she has no idea what it is, and she's freaking out, and she's begging for help, she's screaming for help, and while she's screaming for help, the guy on the beach is like saying, I'm coming, just give me 1 minute. And unfortunately, she's crying and screaming, and you feel sorry for her, and she gets pulled under, and that creates a suspense. This movie has good suspense, just like with Jurassic Park. It's like Alfred Hitchcock. I would call movies like Jurassic Park and Jaws Hitchcockian. So it's here we're introduced to Chief Brody. Chief Brody is an awesome character. He's played by Roy Schneider. Only Roy Schneider could give birth to the Punisher. Yes, Roy Schneider played the Punisher's dad. Even though Roy Schneider died, still, he gave birth to one of the best comic superheroes without powers in Marvel Universe. My opinion. And so he's going around, he goes to the beach, and he meets with the guy, and they find what's left of her. And there's actually not much left of her at all. All that's really left of her is her hand and like a couple body parts that you actually don't see because it's so gruesome. And so like they're all stunned by it, and so basically Chief Brody is like, okay, we've got to close the beaches. But, however, for those who have watched Piranha 3D, you know, like how in the movie where they practically live on spring break. Spring break is how they make their town go. They keep their town alive because that's their busiest time. This for Amity Island, the summer and probably spring break as well. But summer is what keeps the town going because they get so many visitors. It's a popular beach. So when Chief Brody decides I've got to close the beach, the mayor and a bunch of other people are like, look, there wasn't any shark attack. It was a boating accident. They say a lot in this movie. It was just a boating accident. It had to be. But you get the gist of what they're trying to do. They're trying to save their own hides because they don't want the beaches closed down because they need the money. And so with this, Brody is trying to prove throughout the whole entire movie until it's been proven fact that there is a shark attack going around. And so with this, like, we get a couple scenes, we get at least, I want to say we get 3 attacks, I want to say, 3 or 4 attacks. This next one is, we have almost everyone's out on the beach, including Chief Brody and his kids, and he's watching the people swim, and he's keeping a very close eye on it. He's keeping such a close eye on it that when people are talking to him, he's still focused, and he doesn't really pay attention to what's going on. And so we come across this boy named Alex who's wanting to go back in the water. And his mom's like, okay, you know what, you can go out for 10 more minutes, but then we're going home. So while this is going on, they do a bunch of setup to who's going to get eaten. When Chief Brody's looking over the water, he sees this little thing in the water that looks like it could be a dorsal fin, but it was just someone in a speedo hat, and so he kind of gets paranoid. They also do this other thing where a dog goes missing, and this guy was throwing a stick to his dog, and the dog never came back. So they did a lot of suspense of like, okay, who's going to get eaten? And then, like, when we see the little boy out on his raft, all of a sudden you just see like this big thing turning over, and then you see the kid getting pulled down, and this is when they realize, oh crap, something bad is going down. And this really, really gets your heart racing, especially if this is exactly kind of what I'm afraid to go swim in the ocean, especially after watching Shark Week and finding that bull sharks can swim in not just salt water, but regular water. Yeah. You see what these movies do to me? So they decide to have this meeting, and they decide, okay, we've got to hire someone to kill the shark. We're going to see who will bid up the most. And here is when we are introduced to Quint. who says the famous line, I don't want no volunteers, I don't want no mates. $3,000 for me by myself. And here you get the head, the tail, the whole dang thing. So with this, they decide that they're going to bring someone from the Oceanographic Institute, and they're going to have a bunch of people go out on a shark scavenger hunt. They're chumming, they're doing all this stuff, because whoever gets the shark gets $3,000. But before then, we get another scene of someone sneaking out at night trying to cash in early by using a roast to attract the shark. It attracts it all right, and someone almost gets eaten for it. So this is where we come across Matt Hooper, who is he's an oceanographer, and he's from the Oceanographic Institute. He is wanting to help Chief Brody, so the first thing he does is he says he's wanting to see the remains of the first victim. And after looking at this for only a minute or two, he tells him this was not a boat accident, it wasn't a propeller, and it wasn't a coral reef. And then he makes a joke about how it wasn't Jack the Ripper. He confirms that it was a shark, and they have never checked these waters. So later that night, Matt comes to the house and he says, okay. He says, look, you guys still have a shark problem. We need to go cut that shark open. Because they did catch a shark. But it was a tiger shark. And now tiger sharks have been known to pretty much almost eat anything. But because of the width and length of the bite, which was about this big, a tiger shark's mouth wasn't that big. So when they go and cut the stomach open, they find fish, cans, and a license plate. And so they confirm that they've still got a shark problem. They decide to go out on the ocean and see if they can find anything, and they find where he's been feeding, and they find this old ganged up boat. And this was honestly the most creepiest scene for me, was because when they're going over the boat, there's a bite mark, and it just has this creepy music and this creepy feeling to it that whatever did this could still be down there. And so when Matt goes there, he finds a tooth of a great white, and he sees the remains of a body, and it scares him so bad he has to come out of the water. So they go to the mayor, and they're like, okay, look, there is a great white shark. We have got to do something. And he's like, look, we cannot close the beaches. I don't think you're familiar with any of our problems. This doesn't have anything to do with our problems. There's a shark, okay, but we don't have anything to fix that. We have to worry about making money. We have to worry about surviving. Of course, so he's the mayor. So, and they've already got things planned. He doesn't want to cut their losses. But, so, they decide to get a bunch of police out on the river, or out in the ocean. But here's the thing, though. People are so petrified and terrified of what's happened, no one goes in the beach. Even though there's a bunch of people on the beach, no one is going in the water. And the mayor actually has to go up to someone, and he's like, why aren't you in the water? No, look, nobody's getting in. Please, if you get in the water, they will come. If you build a baseball field, they will come. So they all get in the water, and they do the POV of the shark and how a bunch of people are in the water, and it could pick off one of these people any minute. It could just start a feeding frenzy. But we see a shark fin, and I honestly thought this was the real thing at first when I watched this movie for the first time. And it starts up a terror, but before this, Chief Brody he finds his kids because his little boy Mike got a boat for his birthday. He doesn't want his kid going in the ocean, so he's like, okay, here, take it in the pond. While they're doing that, while these kids are scaring people, everyone gets out of the water, and Matt tells Brody, it's like, okay, look, it was just a couple of kids with a cardboard fin. Is everyone okay? Well, this is going on. There's some random girl who notices something. It's an actual shark, and she's screaming, shark, shark. There's a shark going in the pond. There's people in the pond. You got to do something. And while this is going on, the music of Jaws starts playing while Chief Brody starts running to the beach, and it increases the moment. Now, for those who have watched this movie, I know the shark's fake. Okay? I know it's fake. But there are actually 2 or 3 scenes where the shark looks real to me. And this is one of the scenes where it looks real, because this guy is on a boat checking on the kids, and when it hits his boat, you see something come up and pull him under, and then you see him fighting with it, and it honestly looked real to me. So while this is going on, Mike passes out, but after this, after Chief Brody's son passes out, Brody's like, okay, you know what, that's it, I'm done, I don't care what the mayor says, I'm going to hire Quint to kill the shark. So they do, and they get on their way to hunting down the shark. While they're doing this, you know, they're doing simple things like, you know, they're chumming, they're trying to get the shark to come to them. And we get a few jump scares, possibly like, you know, a tug on the line or anything like that. So when they determine it's not the shark, they wait around for a while, and it's when Chief Brody starts chumming again. He's like, slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this crap. We see the shark for the first time. Brody looks like he's peed himself. And he says one of his famous lines, you're going to need a bigger boat. And this is where we get things started with them putting the barrels on this shark, because apparently the shark cannot go underwater when he has a certain amount of barrels attached to him. But because Jaws is so big, he's 25 and he weighs 3 tons, I think they said, he's able to go under with 3 barrels. And it creates this awesome battle that leads up to this pretty cool climax, with things going so bad that Matt brought a shark cage. And he brought all this stuff to track the shark and to even kill the shark. So when they've had the last straw, he's like, look, okay, Quint asks him, he's like, what can you do with this stuff? He's like, well, if I can get in this cage, I think I could get up close to him and I could kill him. So they decide to build the cage, and when he goes under, here's another scene where the shark actually looked real to me. When he's underwater, and it just really feels really creepy and really scary. When he's in that cage, the shark just swims by him, and then he goes away and nothing happens. But then the shark comes up behind him and attacks him and tries to kill him, but he escapes. While this is going on, they try to pull the cage back up, and when they do, the boat has been sinking for a while because Jaws did something to it that is making the boat sink. So while this is going on, Quint and Chief Brody are trying to figure out what happened to Matt, and Jaws comes out of the water. And Quint is battling, and he gets near the shark, and the shark bites him. This is actually probably one of the most disturbing scenes in the movie. He's biting Quint, and he's gnawing on him up and down, but it's not until the shark bites down more that I think he broke something in his body or something, because when he did that, a lot of blood came out of his mouth, and the shark dragged him under. But when he's trying to attack Brody, Brody shoves a oxygen tank in his mouth and gets a gun, and we get the whole entire thing of Jaws trying to swim up to him, and he says the famous line, "Smile, you son of a..." Bam! Blows up the shark. And the shark going down, Brody's happy, Matt comes up, and they swim back to shore. A good ending to a good movie. I love this movie because I like being scared. I'm one of those people who loves being scared. I honestly, if you want to have a good, even though this is an old movie, it's a good summer movie. It's just fun. I have fun with this movie every time I watch it. I'm intrigued more and more every time. And of course I have the anniversary edition. But put in the comments below, what is your favorite scene in the first Jaws movie? What is your favorite Jaws movie? I really want to know. It's summertime, dang it. Watch some summer killer movies. Start with Jaws. Tell me what you thought about it. I love this film because it scared me to death, and it really intrigues me. And if you were interested in sharks or anything like that, this movie is one for you. Guys, this has been another episode of Phenomenal Views. Hit that like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and guys, have a good day and a good Saturday.